News Revolution.
I'm Patrick Henningsen, and this is the 21st Century Wire.
Information is power. Reconfiguring your reality. This is the new battleground. 21st Century Wire.
This week, we take a journey to the south coast of England, from Portsmouth Harbour to the historic Isle of Wight, to spend the day with David Icke. I've followed his career and witnessed the rise in interest in his work over the last decade, and often thought about what kind of man he was, about his motivations, and the impact that his work has had on millions of people worldwide. With so much ground to cover, I had to really focus on what questions I would ask him, and made a list of topics I'd hoped to cover. It turned out to be a very long list, but this was a rare chance for us to get a clearer fix on who we are and why we are here as habitants on this third rock hurling through space and time. We finally caught up with David at Ryde Pier and began our day driving along the coastline of the historic island. As we began our discussion, a conversation which would cover a vast array of subjects, from politics to government, to media, social engineering, the nature of physical reality, and a 21st century where humanity stands at a crossroads as we attempt to navigate the modern matrix.
Very good to meet you. For me personally, it's an exciting thing because this game I'm in right now actually got started in 2001 when I was at home with the first smartphone, looking through the web.
All right.
And I came across your website and davidicke.com, and that you opened a door to a path at that time in my life. So there's a bit of serendipity there.
I think that's what people like me are trying to do. Well, certainly what I'm trying to do is not tell people what to think, but invite people to see that the world can be explained in very different terms to what they've been told all their lives. And you know, if what you're saying has any validity, then it will touch a nerve somewhere. And it's like, I have this phrase about the control system: they defend the first domino. Because, like, you know, when they have all these dominoes lined up and they push the first one, it pushes all the others down. So what they do is they defend the first domino. So, for instance, they have to suppress and ridicule alternative healing, because if it's shown to work and it's accepted to work, then the next question is, why does it work? And suddenly you've got a whole new explanation for the human body and life, and the whole foundation of pharmaceutical medicine starts to collapse. So they have to defend the first domino. And in so many ways, it's a similar process with this information. Once the first domino falls in people's belief system, then others start to fall in this way. You know, if you can produce information, for instance, that shows people that even one major thing in their life, say 9/11 or climate change that isn't by human cause, is simply not true, and the evidence is convincing enough for them to say, I can see it, it's a lie. That's the first domino gone. Because the next one is, well, what the heck else have I been thinking that isn't true? And so we go. And this is the power of the information in starting that process. Because the last thing are trying to do in any area that I'm writing or talking about is to say, you know that belief system of yours, right, give it me here, okay, we'll put it there, here's another one for you.
Yeah.
It's not about that, you know, it's about just starting that process of people saying, actually, the world's not like I thought it was. Now, how much unlike I thought it was, is it really? And away they go, and people then find their own truth. Because, you know, what is truth? For me, the only certainty is eternity. Everything within that is up for grabs in terms of the way we manifest reality. And so what is truth? It's your truth, it's a truth. The truth, I think, is very simple, that we're all one infinite consciousness, and we're different points of attention within that infinite consciousness. So these people walking past me now have a certain point of attention, I have a certain point of attention, and the way we perceive reality as a result of that point of attention is different, but we're still the same one infinite consciousness, awareness. And for me, what the control system is at its foundation seeking to do, and has done brilliantly, is to focus, limit, and glue in place humanity's point of attention. So we're like that. And this is what the media is doing all the time without knowing it, because their point of attention is being, is your point of attention being glued into place? Yes. Well, you'd make a very good journalist. You'd make a very good banker. You'd make a very good scientist. You make a brilliant politician. And the whole point of what I do is, the reason for it, I guess, is to unglue the point of attention so people can see that there are other alternative ways of viewing themselves in reality. And the control system will not be able to survive if enough people unglue themselves, because the glue is what holds the whole house of cards together, and we're the glue. That's the great news, because we can therefore remove it, and down it comes. But only if we take our awareness back and stop having it externally programmed so that we see self in the world in the way that suits mass human control.
The idea of the matrix is a real contemporary, very powerful metaphor, right? And I know you've alluded to it many times, but in what way people kind of construct their own matrix, don't they?
We live in a holographic reality, and one of the great characteristics of holograms is that every part of the hologram is a smaller version of the whole. This, for instance, is where alternative healing methods come from and what they're based on. When you see that the body is a hologram, every part of the body must be a smaller version of the whole. Thus, when reflexology and acupuncture says they can find points on the ear or the foot or wherever that correspond to different parts of the body, that sounds crazy to mainstream concrete science, but because they don't understand what the body is. But when you realize it's a hologram, those things must manifest. That must be so. You must find the whole body in different parts of the body. And in the same way, because it's holographic, if we have a matrix, there will be multiple levels of the matrix. As it actually said in the Matrix movie, the Morpheus character, when he said that the matrix was a technologically, in effect, generated dream world. So I think that that is based on fact. But in the same way, people live in their own matrix state, which is connected and driven, I think, by the matrix as a whole. The matrix itself is like an information prison, feeding us a sense of perception that puts us in this tunnel vision of limitation. But in the same way, people live in their own individual prisons, which they create by taking on that belief system of limitation. And it's my view that we live in an infinite reality, which is all possibility. And so when you're in a situation of all possibility, then paradox just has to be set aside, because people talk about something, they talk about something that is the all that is, has been, and ever can be. And when you say that, people say, what do you mean? That nothing can be all that is and ever can be. What it can, all possibility. Because all possibility has to be all that is and ever can be, because it's all possibility. And in the same way, everything and nothing must exist in all possibility. All possibility must be an is and an isn't. It must be an everywhere and a nowhere. And so we're dealing with this core reality that where all possibility exists, and yet we have become so detached from that, I would say, by manipulated, cold, calculated design, that vast numbers of people in this world believe that all they need to know to understand self and infinity is a book between two covers called a Bible or a Quran or a Talmud. You have a science which is based on I can't, you can't, limitation basically. When you look at the limitation in all areas of human life, this sense of I can't, this sense of little me, this sense of it's not possible, given that that's all happening within what I suggest is infinite possibility, then either humanity is completely bloody stupid in perceiving those limitations in the way that they do, or, and this is what I suggest, they are being manipulated to believe in limitation, because limitation of possibility equals limitation of perception of self and the world. And you know, when you want to enslave billions of people, you cannot have them in a consciousness state that is in an expanded perception of possibility and reality. You have to have them there.
Lower their expectations.
Yes, and feed them a belief system, which is what? It's a self-censorship system.
Self-policing.
Yeah, self-policing, self-censorship, self-perpetuating prophecies. And we call these things religion. We call them mainstream science, which is itself a religion. Atheism is a religion. The religions that believe in a God, that's their religion. And then you've got the scientific atheists whose God is there is no God. I mean, it's the same basic blueprint, just with a different name on the door.
The new one's consensus reality. That's the new kind of modern religion.
Consensus reality.
Pop religion, really.
Yeah.
If everyone believes it, and then it must be true, and you must be wrong because no one else says this, or you know, it's not on the news.
You're right, and you can manipulate that simply by fake opinion polls. You can put out a fake opinion poll that says 80% of people believe this, and a lot of people will believe that because the 80% can't be wrong. And in the end, and this is where I feel the conspiracy research and exposure movement needs to open its mind, is that, you know, we can talk, and we should, about manipulated terrorist events like 9/11 and manipulated wars and manipulated economic crashes, all these things, and we need to know about them. But they are not in and of themselves the origin. They are an expression of the origin of all this. And the origin is the external manipulation of human perception. And you can see it at multiple levels. You can see it in the manipulation of belief in the fact that who we are is our name, our job, our family history, our life story, our income bracket, our color, our religion, and all this stuff, our politics. When we are infinite awareness, having an experience. But then you take it in multiple other areas, like if you can persuade people that 19 hijackers that couldn't fly Cessnas somehow manifested the ability to fly wide-body jets on 9/11, then you can justify invading countries based on a war on terror that actually doesn't exist. So it's a mind game. It's a mind game. Everything is a mind game. We see 9/11 and we see people believing in the official story of 9/11. That's the external expression. But take it back to its core, it is the manipulation of vast numbers of people to believe total crap about 9/11, which as a result gives you the justification of further action which you want, what I call problem, reaction, solution. So what I'm saying, Patrick, is wherever you see the manifestations of this conspiracy in its multiple faceted, interconnected tapestry, when you pull all of them back to their core, they are expressions of manipulation of human perception.
When we return, more revelations of a global conspiracy that threatens to bring the human race to its knees.
Family network controlled corporations that are essentially working to the same agenda of human enslavement.